Coach, I'm taking you back here about a year now to the time before the trade for Matthew. There isn't a lot of historical precedence for making that kind of move and then that person taking them over the hump and to winning the Super Bowl. Was there a blueprint, though, that you used as you guys went through the process?
Yeah, no, not really. I think it was a matter of, a player of his caliber coming available. I look like I'm moving in this screen. You're trying to fit me to this screen. That's interesting. I can't think of many times since I've been in coaching, Jeff, that a player of his caliber has come available under those circumstances where we had a guy that had done a phenomenal job with us. And so it was kind of unprecedented. I thought Les and Brad Holmes did a great job of kind of working out a collaborative process that felt like it was good for both sides. I think it's incredible that the Lions were so great to Matthew to be able to accommodate some of the things that he had asked. And then, it was it was something that came together a lot quicker than I think any of us anticipated. But as soon as people got word that there was interest on our part, it obviously accelerated the interest from some other teams. And I think that's why it happened faster than myself, Matthew, anybody involved ever anticipated. But feel very grateful to be working with Matthew. But as far as kind of just the groundwork, I think Les, Brad Holmes, I know on our end, Kevin Demoff and Tony Pastors were instrumental in trying to get that figured out, as well as Rod Wood and a lot of the people that are really important for the Lions organization. And I think, like Brad Holmes said the other day, I think it's worked out well for both parties.
Sony, the Sun.
Hi, Sean. Good evening. Zach Taylor spoke a bit about the loss to New England 3 years ago. I'm curious to know, is that something that you have discussed with him since then, since he's been at the Bengals? And what are your own personal reflections from that game?
Yeah, we talk. Zach and I are close. We've had a handful of conversations over the last few years. It was a big game. It was something that, I know for me personally, I felt responsible for a lot of things that I didn't do a good enough job to help us try to get the win in that situation. You always look at it, you learn from it. But I think as a coach, you're always trying to grow. You can't let previous setbacks inhibit your ability to be able to move forward. Yeah, it stung, but it's one of those deals that as a competitor, you get up and you dust yourself off and you say, I can't wait for the opportunity to be able to respond. And in those instances, it's a long off season. But I think it was a blessing to be a part of that game, to be able to learn from it. There's been a lot of good experiences and some bad ones since then. And feel very fortunate to have an opportunity with this team, with people that I really love and care about, to try to go finish it off this time against a very good opponent.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jackson Thompson, Business Insider.
How's it going, Coach?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I wanted to ask you about the role sports science has played in the Rams' run here. What kind of credit do you give to head trainer Reggie Scott? And can you point to any specific examples about how he's kind of ahead of the game and keeping your guys healthy?
Yeah, I can't say enough. I mean, he's been instrumental in our success. I think a lot of the things, when you talk about player health and safety, providing situations and circumstances that in an environment and an atmosphere that enable them to feel as physically healthy, fresh, and ready to go when that 3-hour window of time comes around. I've learned so much from Reggie. Reggie is a huge part. I don't know that I can even put a price and a level of emphasis on how big he has been to the success that we've had really since I got here. His willingness to work in coordination with me, the way that he's helped educate me along with, other great leaders on his staff with Tyler Williams, Byron. Those guys have done such a great job, really the whole staff. But Reggie's been great. He's got such a great feel and our ability to be able to collaborate on, the performance, but also the tactical element. And that's really the delicate balance, because you still do have to be ready to roll and handle all the different things that a football game entails situationally. And, just the way that you want to try to win it in all three phases. But Reggie's been great. I couldn't ask for a better partner in terms of his leadership, his friendship. And he's been outstanding, and he is the man.
Kelsey Conway.
Hey, Sean, I was wondering if you could take us back to the meetings that you had with Les when you guys were about to acquire Andrew Whitworth in free agency.
Yeah. Well, for one, the best way that we look at it as coaches is you're just watching the tape. But there is an element of, all right, you always use comps as examples, and there had never been a player of his caliber that probably had been playing as well as he had played with the amount of experience that he had accumulated over the course of his career. So it was kind of unprecedented to pay a player of his, experience level, even though his play was definitely meriting that, the type of contract that he received. But everybody was in alignment on board with it. And, we got the better end of the deal. If you knew what a great player he'd be, what an impact that he has on our team, on me, on everybody that he touches. And Kelsey, he had a huge influence on the Bengals organization in a positive way. I could go on and on about the influence, the effect that he's had on everybody, how selfless he is. You talk about great leaders in their purest form, make people and situations that they're a part of better. That's exactly what this guy does. And he's committed to that. He does it in his own way with one-offs with people. But going back to that, it was one of the best moves we could have
Stacey
made.
Dales, NFL Network.
Yes, that was a long answer. You cut me
Whoa,
off.
Sean, go ahead and finish that. That was awesome.
You know what? It's like when you're accepting an award, they give you the buzz, like speed it up. I guess that was the example I just got.
That was awesome. Well said on Whit.
Thank you.
My question, Coach, is the playoff level your team is playing at. What has been, the singular, focal point within your offense that's just been so steady through these 3 games in the playoffs, and where you've taken it to a different level?
Yeah, I think the players, Stacey, I think obviously, they're all in unison on the way that they're operating. And I think what I've really liked about it too, Stacey, is each of the 3 games have kind of represented a little bit different story in how we had to find ways to win the game. Arizona was a really complete game. Tampa, I thought we played really well. We just had 4 uncharacteristic kind of mishaps on the fumbles. But then when we had to be at our best, the guys responded in a huge way. And then the resilience to come back from behind against an excellent team in the Niners, 17-7, make the drives when we had to. And I thought the guys did a great job of really moving the football and controlling that game offensively. So there's been a lot of different things, but I think ultimately it boils down to the players playing really well, their confidence, their communication, their mental toughness, and their ability to play well situationally in those crunch time moments have been vital. And, Matthew Stafford's leadership, can't say enough about that.
Rocco.
Hi, Coach. Rocco Law, WRHU, New York. Quick question for you here. It's just 3 years ago that you were in your first Super Bowl. Now you're in your second Super Bowl. What is one important thing you learned last Super Bowl that you've worked on for this Sunday? And what do you think is one other thing that maybe someone outside of the Super Bowl that's never been in that won't be able to experience that can happen on Sunday?
Yeah, I think a couple things. Understand that it's a blessing, for the team and for all the people that have been a part of this to earn an opportunity, but you want to be able to finish this game. Understand how to appropriately allocate the 2 weeks of preparation the right way, while also knowing that, hey, the other team game plans have to be totally and completely present in the moment, be ready to adjust or adapt accordingly with things that fit our players' skill sets. Those are the things that I would take away, but I think also enjoying it. I mean, it is a great opportunity. This has been an opportunity that's been earned by our players, coaches, and our organization. You want to take it in, but I think the best thing that our players, and I could feel from really our entire operation after the Niners game, man, guys were excited, but they understood great challenge ahead with a phenomenal Cincinnati Bengals team. And we got one more that we want to try to do to finish this the right way.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck on Sunday.
Appreciate that.
Ryan, New York Post.
Hey, Sean, can you hear me?
I got you.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
All
Question. I have two analytics-based questions for you. How do you decide, not at the end of the game if you're losing, but in the middle of the game near midfield, how do you decide to go for it on 4th down or not? Is it yardage? Is it faith in your quarterback? Is it flow of the game? Is it stats you were given pregame? And then if you're ever down 14 in a game, which you aren't very often, if you score a touchdown, do you go for 2 to make it 6, or do you kick the PAT to make it 7?
Yeah, so it's all of the above. All those factors I think are really important. In a lot of instances, the stats are a big part of it, but there's so many layers, like you just asked, Brian, that involve decision making with regards to matchups, yardage, the flow of the game. What are the types of things that you're anticipating and expecting defensively, and do you like those plays versus those defensive structures, whether you want to run the football or throw the football? So all of those things are big important factors. As far as a 14-point game, I'm very aware of some of the things that what they say as far as the analytics. But my mindset would be, if just off the top of my head, if that situation arises, I would kick the field goal to continue to keep it a 7-point game, which gives you the opportunity, if you do score again, to be able to tie it, or if you want to go for the win in a 2-point situation, you have that luxury that you would not have allotted to yourself if you went for 2 and did not convert.
Chris Ryan.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Just the impact that you feel that Aaron Donald has had on the franchise as a whole, and how his dominance on the defensive side of the football, flexibility, has created kind of a confidence and culture within your football team.
Yeah, I get asked about Aaron all the time, and rightfully so. And I think the best way that I can answer it is, no matter how many nice things I say, it still wouldn't do justice to what he means to me and to our organization. He is one of one. He's so special. He had already established himself as one of the best players in this league before I got here 5 years ago. All he's done is get better. And that's because you hear him say it all the time. Hard work pays off. He's an extremely gifted player, but I don't know that I've ever been around anybody that's more intrinsically motivated than he is, that wants to bring people with him, that is the epitome of a great teammate, that practices hard, that prepares the right way, and then has a switch that he flips where it's a controlled aggression that he plays with during the course of games. He brings people with him. He elevates their play. And I've even seen over the last couple of years, he's elevated his leadership. What he does, I always tell our players, I see better than I hear. And if you just watch what Aaron Donald does, he is the epitome of everything that's right about the Rams. But he's also used his voice, and he picks and chooses the right spots to really challenge guys to raise their level of play. And that's been a huge part of why we're here. I know so many of his teammates, coaches, myself, want this so badly for him and so many of our special players and people that are a part of this game. And I think that's what makes this team special. Guys are doing it because they want it for the love and care that they have for their teammates. And that is so special. And that is epitomized by Aaron Donald.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Daniel, The Athletic.
Hey, Sean, how have you seen Van Jefferson grow this year, and what kind of impact do you think having a father who's a coach has had on Van?
I think it's huge. You could always see, even watching Van's college tape, the game makes sense to him. He understands how to work edges on people. He has some polished ability to be able to separate, change up his release patterns. He's a very gifted player. He can run, got good aggressive hands, good catch radius. I think he's only gotten better as he's gotten more confident, more experience. He's made a handful of big plays, a bunch of crunch time catches for us. I think the future is really bright for this guy. I think his dad's had a huge influence. He's a tough competitor. If you watch the way that his dad played, and even the way that his rooms that he's responsible for overseeing, whether it be the Cardinals or the Jets or the Dolphins, wherever he's been as a receiver coach, those guys play tough. They play for him. And you can see he's been a huge influence on Van. Van's been a big part of what we're doing. Eric Yarber's been outstanding, but I think also Van, being able to learn from Cooper, from Robert, even watching Odell, and then also being able to put his own flavor on his elite traits and skill set that he possesses. He's only going to get better. I love Van Jefferson.
Last one, Joshua, WRHU.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Joshua?
I'm doing all right. Honored to have the last question here. So want to ask you about 2018 and the emotions of losing that. Does that serve as motivation for you and some of the guys who were on this squad back in 2018?
The good thing is, Joshua, you're the first person that's actually asked me that question this week. I'm just kidding. This is lonely on the other side. I can only see myself. No, it is. Here's what I would say, Joshua, in all seriousness. That was a very humbling, hard night because of the amount of work and, how long and how hard it is to get to those moments. And when you feel like as a coach, you didn't really pull your weight, do a good job, that's a hard thing. To say that that's motivation, I think I have an appreciation growing up around this game and understanding how difficult this league is, and to be able to get in these positions that you want to cherish it. But it's about this team. It's about this game. It's about being at our best in that 3.5 hour window on 3:30 p.m. when we kick this thing off in LA, and how we do a great job of playing complementary football. Certainly that memory will always stick with me, but I do look at it when you can look at it in hindsight. Yeah, it bothers me, but I think some of the best things that can happen if you respond to the adversity the right way can be some of the biggest blessings. My dad has told me this, and I couldn't be more of a believer in it. Setbacks are setups for comebacks. And any great competitor, any person that's successful in life, they've had some moments where they had to respond from adversity. That was one of them for me, for our team. But this is a separate entity, but I think more than anything, it gives you an appreciation for how hard it is to be able to finish this, get to that top of the mountain. We're right there, but we got a great task and a great challenge ahead against the Bengals.
One more thing for you before we wrap up. Want to ask, you got Sony Michel now on your side. Just talk about, since he's arrived to your team, how awesome is it going to be having him in the running game on Sunday?
Huge. He's done a great job, Joshua. I joked with him. I said, nice for you to be on the right side of this thing this time, you jerk. After he, did a good job of helping them sustain possession and, churn out tough yards. But I really think Sony was one of the biggest parts of the turnaround. A lot of people forget we had a really tough stretch in November. You lose 3 games in a row. There's a lot of outside in narratives that would have affected a lot less resilient locker rooms in a bad way. Our guys didn't. But we did have to shift our identity a little bit, play to some of the strengths with some of the personnel changes and adjustments. One of the biggest things was we really leaned heavily on Sony Michel through a handful of games in the month of December and really leading up to this game. And he's done a great job. He's a pro's pro. He's a tough, physical, hard runner, does a great job leveling off, has a great feel for tight contested spaces to be able to work edges and level runs off and fall forward. Thomas Brown does a great job. And I think it's been really impressive how quickly he's picked things up. People also forget, we traded for him right before we started the regular season. It wasn't like he had an off season to learn things. Smart, conscientious. You win with guys like Sony Michel. Very grateful to have him on our squad.
Thank you, and good luck Sunday, Sean.
Thanks, Joshua. Appreciate you guys.